So yesterday I announced that I was going to be doing a 30-day challenge with a number of my friends and peers in a community that I'm in. And one of the things that I spoke about is that I would be talking about energy and why it's so important to us and how it has an impact on our lives and how it helps us to be in our A game all of the time. But first of all, what I would like to do is share with you why I do what I do now, why I'm so passionate about what I do right now. So let me start by asking a question. Do you remember those parties, the masquerade parties where you don't quite know the real person behind the mask? It can be quite exciting, curious, fun even. Except what happens if you need to wear that mask every single day? In 2020, I'm heading towards security in Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam. And I love it here. It's almost like my second home. I've been going to and fro for about the last 8 years for work. And it's so easy. When you go through security and you scan your passport and you're through, and you can hear the hustle and bustle and excitement of everybody else that's going through with you. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling that excitement. And as I head up towards the escalator, I can feel the crushing sensation pushing down on my chest, having just left a car crash of an interview with a company that I've been working with for about 23 years. And I have to tell you, it did not go well at all. And as I reached the top, I completely collapsed on the floor. I started sobbing and crying, and I had the most massive anxiety attack that I've ever had. I'd been pushing the feelings away for a long, long time. And an hour later, I was taken off to the accident area up in the Schiphol Airport, and I was given what I can namely call sort of beta blockers to be able to calm my nerves down. They was a bit concerned that I was having a heart attack, understandably. Eventually I did settle down and I went home and I was signed off sick. And then a month later, I'm sat in my kitchen. I got the phone call from work and discovered that I had been made redundant for a company that I'd worked with for 23 years. I was confident in my role. And in that moment, I shut down mentally and physically. I wasn't able to talk to anybody. I wasn't able to see my friends or my family. And guess what? COVID struck and I wasn't even able to speak to a therapist. So I had to find a way. I had to do it myself. And I thought at the time that my burnout was because of my redundancy, and it was actually the catalyst, the final nail in the coffin of a lifetime of, let's say, bad behaviour. And not intentional behaviour, those things that we're taught from a very, very early age, dependent on our families and our friends, our culture, those kind of things. And of course, I'd been practicing a lot of things, and one of them was namely wearing that mask of a people pleaser. And one of the things that I did learn to do during that time is that I learned to reset. I went out walking my dog every single day. I started enjoying the fresh air. And as the noise in my head started to slow down, I started recognising some of the behaviours that I had been doing over the years, that people pleasing, trying to keep everybody happy, not looking after myself, being the superhero, volunteering for everything, absolutely everything. Excuse the noise. I've got builders next door, and I think every single time I start recording something, they start actually making a noise, which is fantastic. Now, years ago, I would have got really stressed about that, but now, well, it is what it is. I can't help what's going on externally. Anyway, through that period of learning to reset, I've eventually re-energised as well. And this is one of the key areas that I'll be talking about over the next month. And that learning to re-energize is so vital, because yes, it's great we've understood what's driving us to feel stressed and anxious and burnt out, but unless we've got the energy to do something about it, we keep spiraling back out of control. So I learnt to re-energize. I started doing things like gardening and yoga and meditation, and I soon learnt that this behind me was my sanctuary, and that's where I learnt to do things like grounding. And for anybody that's not familiar with that, is that effectively you're connecting with earth, whether it's by, you know, walking around barefooted or connecting with trees or plants, everything like that, that helps you to re-energize and makes you feel better inside and outside, and also here, so in this wonderful mind. Shh. So and then I started reading books about burnout and imposter syndrome and people pleasing, and it gave me a chance to reflect. Hey Steph, it's lovely to see you. So it gave me a chance to reflect, a bit of introspection, you know, looking within ourselves, trying to understand what's going on, what's driving our thoughts and our feelings, and things that were showing up. And what I recognised, that people pleasing was one of my key things that I was trying to do. I felt responsible for everybody else, wearing that mask of nothing to see here, everything's fine, trying to keep everybody happy. And I recognised that confrontation, fear of confrontation, was my biggest reason for why I people please. Because of course, when everybody's happy, then no one's unpredictable. But when someone is unhappy, you don't know what's going on next. You don't know how they're going to start reacting to you. So you then start putting mechanisms in place to be able to protect you, your family, your loved ones, those around you. But it then adds to the fact that you start feeling responsible for everybody around you. And you know what? You can't be responsible for anybody else. You can be there for them. You can you know, support them, love them, hug them, you know, share your support and connection when you need it. But what you can't do is take responsibility for it, because the only one that can make change in their lives is the person that's actually dealing with the situation. They are responsible, and they are the ones that need to make a choice. And that's one of the biggest things that I learned, is that I needed to take action for what was going on in my life. I could have all the external factors in the world, and I can't change those external actions. But what I can change is my response to those actions and take control of them. And I have a choice to take control of those actions. I also recognised that the thing that I love nothing more in this world, whilst I was, you know, reflecting on my past, you know, the 23 years in the corporate world, all of the bad behaviour that I'd done, you know, trying to be seen in a male environment because I was in manufacturing, trying to be heard, you know, trying to prove myself, you know, that dreaded imposter, you know, another mask that we put on over ourselves. The thing that I recognised I loved nothing more was the training, the coaching, and seeing that light shine in someone's eyes when they had that eureka moment, seeing them thrive, seeing them shine. And that's when I took the decision to step back from the corporate world, take the redundancy, and set up my own coaching and training business. And I did that 4 years ago now, and I've never looked back. I have absolutely never looked back. And one of the important things I recognise is that we don't need to wear that mask anymore. We can be ourselves, our unique selves. And you know what? If someone doesn't like you, that's their problem, not yours. And you know, you can't change their feelings towards you, but you can change how you feel inside. And that ability to be able to learn that self-love, that self-compassion, that self-worth can be so life-changing and so magical and so rewarding. So I then did set up my own coaching and training business in 2021. And since then, I have help to change so many wonderful, amazing lives, and help them to understand that they can be limitless, because we're all limitless. Our external environment does not determine who we are, who we should become, and what we should do and how we can achieve things. And one of my biggest passions, given that I'm in an area which is highly deprived and there's limited opportunities from their perspective, and because they're surrounded by people that drag them down and don't give them the opportunity to thrive, tell them they're not enough, and they start believing that they're not enough. For me, the best thing that I can ever be able to achieve is to be able to help individuals to know that they can thrive and shine beyond belief, be whoever they want to be, and live their best lives, and be able to rediscover what it is that they truly love and be who they truly want to be. So that's part of why I do what I do. Hopefully it's given you a bit more clarity of why it's so important to me. And if you want to listen in to find out more of the tips and guidance that I share, then I look forward to having you join me over the next now 28 days as of tomorrow, and why it's so important for me to do what I do. And I will also be sharing with you why it is that I serve people through one of the companies that I work with, because how it's helped my husband as well, and why it's been so vital to the change, and how it's benefited so many of my clients as well. So anyway, thank you, Steffi. It's lovely to see you, and I look forward to seeing your live later and sharing some of the things that you do. Anyway, I'm just going to go back to my next call that I'm going to be on, and enjoy my garden. By the way, can I just let you know that I never did any gardening for, well, let's just say my garden was a little bit overgrown. So just here, all the way down the side, was my own forest. Literally my own forest. I never did any gardening, and as soon as I hit my burnout, one of the biggest things that I learned to love was to be able to do gardening, and I love it. And now I have a beautiful garden that I love, with lots and lots of greenery and shrubs and flowers and everything like that. I even built my own little patio down the end there, because at 6 o'clock in the morning the sun shines and you can start planning your day and get some focus and energy from it. So one of the biggest things I've learned is that actually I can do gardening, and I do enjoy it, and I do love it. And when you connect with nature, the benefits are wonderful. I know I was whittering on about that bit, but believe me, if you can get some time in your garden, then make the most of it. And I'm now about to set up my laptop to go and work in the garden. What a wonderful way to spend life. So anyway, have a fabulous day, and any questions at all, then I would love to have a chat. Take care.